Yes,
Pleasant.
good morning, everybody.
Oh, the sun is out now
Yeah, I hope wherever you are that you have some sunshine today.
because we just went through almost 5 or 6 days of horrific weather in the
Yeah.
northern part of the country.
And where
And
we live, wala pa tayong ilaw.
yeah, where we are, walang kuryente. It's been like that for the last 5 days. But alam mo, minsan, this type of situation, you can measure how prepared you are.
We become resilient.
You become resilient.
We're forced to be resilient.
How do you adapt? How do you adjust to the situation that you're facing?
Yeah. So our
Uh,
topic today is conservation of nature, and of course,
Yesterday
we
was
all
World
have
Concert
experienced what nature can do, no?
and what nature provides.
Yes.
So there's two facets of it. Because for others, for those of you, most of us who don't understand what nature is, I mean, what nature gives us, and that we're totally dependent on nature, we see nature as harsh,
Mhm.
the
We see
harshness of
we're
nature,
separated from nature by our cement and glass walls.
the way we think.
Yeah, we're not really aware so much what's going on out there unless there's a big typhoon like what we just
Right.
had.
You're detached to it.
Mhm.
Ngayon, you will find we all go and live our lives in such a way that um, doing our business of following our desires and our interests and hoping the society that has provided for most of what we have will continue giving us what we need
Mhm.
and the support, right? From income to homes to raising our kids to the food we need to eat. But we never ponder on the realities until we face the situation of what many of the northern Luzon Filipinos have encountered recently. And just as in
Yeah.
many places of the country, during the January and December season, ang mga taga Bisaya naman at saka Mindanao ang going through the type of um, you know nature
Weather disturbance.
nature driven.
Pero sila parang walang tigil kasi until now they're still affected, no,
Right.
by the
So
typhoon.
it is only when this situation takes place that you start to account for, oh, what's happening here? Nakahanda ba ako rito? Ito yung mga panahon na siyempre marami sa ating kababayan, pagdating sa ganito, they preempt, our government preempts
Mm-mm.
programs to warn people and tell people, lumikas na kayo, may evacuation center tayo rito. Lahat ng bayan, lahat ng barangay may evacuation center na. So diyan kagad pinalilikas ang mga tao dahil pag you are in harm's way, you know, then you need to get out of where you live. Baka bahain ka or baka bagsakan ka ng bundok. Many of those things come to play. And we find ourselves, sempre there are people in our society that are very limited in their capacity to be able to be resilient, that they can handle such onslaughts of nature. But yet, on the positive side of things, everything that we do, like kami, we live in a bundok, we're farmers, and uh, just as we have electricity, but now we also have solar. It's a renewable source of energy. And I was just
Yeah,
telling,
pero pag ulan ng ulan, walang masyadong araw, so you
limited
don't get
lang
so much
energy
energy
from
from
the sun. But yet at the same time, it's always good to, okay, pag ganito ang situation, what do we do?
Yeah, you just
What
have
tor-
to adjust your
what
activities.
type of adjustments do I do? Di ba?
Yeah.
Oh, alam nyo, I want to share this to everyone, yeah? The best 4 nights
Of sleep.
of sleep
Oh.
has
Was-
been occurring
When since wala kaming
since
ilaw.
walang kuryente. Something I could say that
When there's no electromagnetic force around you, it's more relaxing type
not
of stuff.
so much of the stimulus
Yeah.
that we all from the modern life that we have embraced, there's a
Even in
stimulus.
Manila, it's hard to relate to that kasi there's always electricity around you, di ba?
Yeah.
Kahit patayin mo ilaw sa kwarto mo, meron outside, in the street, the buildings around you, no?
Yeah, there's so much, there's so much
And it
stimulation.
says their cell phones on pa rin.
Right. And this time, we only need a cell phone for the most essential. None of the, okay, I'm going to search things like every person is doing. They're so busy looking at their cell phone. But this time, without any power, or you're trying to conserve what you have, no, you set it aside, turn it off.
Yeah, I
So-
need take turns turning it on also kasi we're trying to make the batteries last.
And I can't be thinking on, ah,
Hindi ka maka-check.
the world will wait
everything.
anyway. Let's not think
Yeah,
that the world
goes
needs me,
without
okay?
us.
It will go on without you or me. And the better we understand is that we are not the controllers of our situation. We just make the best of what we have. And this is where it comes to play. We accept and that we have our own limitations. So when we talk about conservation,
Mhm.
what are we conserving? Conservation in nature, what are we doing?
Yes.
Di ba? What is the focus here? In the scientific world, there's a word they use, biocapacity. When you're talking biocapacity, it's the capacity of nature to supply our needs from
Which
food,
is, yeah, food,
quality of air,
energy, yeah.
energy we require, and then definitely the basic necessities in existence, which is housing, clothing. It goes on.
Security.
Security.
Oo, madami.
And in security, there's so many components. There's your food security. Are your foods secure or are you insecure in food?
Yeah, are you dependent on food that you buy outside, or are you
Dependent on food that you grew.
self-sufficient? Yeah, do you,
You grow. Right. Do you have this in your mindset that, okay, in the past, most of us had gardens at home.
Way back in the past,
But when we embrace
everyone used to grow
when
their
we embrace the urban lifestyle, then we start to complicate things a bit. We depend on others to supply the food for us.
We used to be able to go outside, pluck a few fruits and vegetables from our garden.
If
and
not
eat.
that,
But now we have to work for somebody, earn money, travel somewhere so we can pay somebody money to get food. It's become way more complicated.
and that's why
Used
even
to be.
places here in the country that are provincial, but yet they have their own urban centers where people gravitate to and they leave the countryside. So that means every person who gets out of the countryside, it's a negative as far as farming, food production,
Oh, dami. Mhm.
so much of the
Kasi
impact on the food
cities are
side.
so dependent on
Right.
those outside the city.
See, most of us would go to the supermarket or our fresh markets to buy our food. And then, so that means our whole economic situation is dependent on money that goes around, work that I actually engage in, so that I have cash to support my needs and my family's needs. But then in situations like now, actually, in other
Pero
countries,
wala nang cash.
yeah, cashless society na.
Card.
So it's beginning to change a bit, but this is really good in many ways.
It's changing quickly actually. Sobra.
Yeah, no more paper. It's just, a card that you carry goods. It gives you a sense of kind of, you're not holding much money, but you're also spending a whole lot buying
Yeah,
resources that,
definitely.
yeah, you end up buying more. But anyway, this is beside the point. Let's go to the conservation part. When you talk about biocapacity, in nature, if you look at the forests, yeah, the forest systems, and you look at the ocean, there's two components that that actually interact together, and we're in the middle of it,
So we are dependent on both systems.
both systems. When you talk on conservation, we have to have even a little understanding of what are we conserving. What is there that we need to
Really
protect?
think about what we're really dependent on
Right.
anymore.
Because, for example, when you say conservation, you talk about first water, right?
There's a small plane flying around. Meron
So-
kasing flying school dito sa La Union.
So when you have water, who amongst us are conserving our water consumption?
Sa Manila, maraming nag-conserve kasi they have water issues.
They have water issues.
It's when
Do you know that every
biglang
Filipino,
mapuputulan ka or
we have some foreign participants on this.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you all. Bert Pasqua, Patrick, good morning. And Aja, good morning. And James Bones and Vina, good morning to you all. You know, if I ask you these questions, most of us who are listening in, do you ever account for the number of how much water you need per day?
No.
Do you ever account for the number of kilograms of food that we eat in a year or in a day? Do we ever figure out where the food is coming from? Do we ever do our assessments on resources that we use?
I think not. Kasi
get by.
we're so
Detached.
detached from
Detached.
nature already to think about those things. No.
If like me, I'm a farmer. I'm a beekeeper farmer. People tell me, "Oh, sir, you don't look like a farmer. You don't walk like one." No, I know how to walk like a farmer and stand like a beekeeper.
Meron bang rules
But-
yun? This is how a farmer walks.
In the Philippines, there's a measure to that in the way you talk,
Mm.
you know. And a lot of times, when I account for what we have, how much food I need to eat, definitely we're producing more than what we need. I can say that. I can share that to you.
So bakit parang people are going hungry?
Right.
There's something wrong somewhere, right? Oo.
And even fisher folks, for example. The fisher folks in this country are the most marginalized. Because during typhoon season like this, we are
Siyempre, they cannot
go out.
pumalaot dahil malaki ang alon.
And many of the fisher folks don't have properties, you know.
Yeah, wala silang parang something to fall back on.
Right. They live in
Pati
fishing
sila-
villages where
Yeah,
houses are
that's the-
together and and their houses are built in stilts because they live near
The ocean.
by the ocean.
So sila yung laging apektado pag may bagyo lalo.
Yeah, they're always affected by it. So as you see, when these things take place, like natural disaster, there are people who are in a situation where they have to get out of their homes,
Oo.
leave everything behind,
Parang walang katapusan.
and it's endless. And that happens almost 4 to 6 months a year of many of the fisher folk communities.
Yeah, and it's not like, halimbawa, eto may bagyo, masira ang bahay mo. Then you go back to your house, inaayos mo palang, eto na, may isa
There's
pang
another
bagyo.
typhoon that comes in.
Yes, tuloy, tuloy.
So you encounter most of these problems, but with the fisher folks, that is like every day becomes a survival.
Fight for survival.
Fight for survival. Magana, it's in your psyche. It's in your head.
So, sobrang stress, no? Ang
Yeah, there's
dinadaanan
stress.
ng ating mga kapatid
You need
dyan.
to either you become resilient to it or you just call it quits. You know, this is something that I can admire many of the Filipinos, no matter what, because we know this country is full of and faced with many disasters. It makes us also resilient. But yet, we cannot be resilient and be dependent and faced with all of what is going on in our lives from the day we grow up and the day we go and our families go through the same thing I went through. So many of them also try to look into opportunities for them to get out of the situation. But because of the difficulty of choices, then what happens?
Mm.
They become desperate.
Oo. Sometimes you just give up on that whatever, no?
Yeah.
Mahirapan na masyado.
So in this country, close to 17 million Filipinos are in this situation. That's almost 1/4 of the population. So it's something for us to consider what's causing this. You go back again. How do you assess this? You have climate change issues that will make it harder for those who live in the boondocks, that lives in the coastline,
I think
and everybody
now,
else.
Everybody now. Oh, look
We're
around
con-
the world, everyone's got a problem.
I was just in a Viber messaging with the governor of Ilocos Norte just this morning,
Yeah, as you know, yung major bridge nila doon, nasira, dalawang.
The place is a calamity zone.
Oo.
So I was saying that 3 weeks ago, we were working on the environmental code of the province, and I was telling them, look, don't even think about offering the people a timber industry.
Mm-mm.
We're supposed to be not cutting
have to
trees. We're
save the
supposed to be save the trees and planting trees. And they're saying to me during that time, no, sir, we don't have a problem like what you have in La Union. In Ilocos Norte, we still have a lot of natural forests. And I talked about the capacity of the forest system to be able to handle the needs of people today. Their people. The floods were so horrific.
Yeah,
Many
kung
issues.
maraming puno, hindi
Yeah.
ganun kalaki ang flood no? Kasi the trees can absorb so much of
Yeah.
water.
And the trees are, kumbaga na, they are
They hold the soil.
the trees
Them.
are the very, kumbaga ano, in the whole picture of biocapacity, it is the role of the trees, not just one,
It's anchored on the tree.
multiple trees in the forest from the top to the middle to the base of the mountains
Lahat
and
may
along the riverbanks play a role in balancing, stabilizing the natural systems. And when this is unstable and imbalanced, we all face the consequence of this. This is what's taking place today.
We have to really plant trees and take care of the
Yes.
trees. Preserve, conserve.
And you know, these trees, and when these things are happening for us today, let us also look in the possibility of what it's going to be like for our younger generation. What resource would you have?
Oh yeah. we
What
need
quality
to
of
have-
life do we have?
Oh
So
yeah, I
thi-
wanted
this
to
sounds so
introduce
negative.
this book now that you mentioned the children.
The Last Child in the Woods,
It's a very interesting book explaining how we all need nature.
nature.
That most children now, when they have ADHD and all kinds of problems, whatever they call it, most of them are helped by just being in nature.
Right.
Now, we shouldn't spend so much time being wired, the internet and all that, or else we end up getting weird, because we need nature pa rin
Wired
talaga.
and weird, di ba?
Yeah, it's just a mess up of wired.
Right. You get too
Become-
wired and you get too out
You
of
get
touch.
wired, you get a little weird, you get out of touch
You get
with
out of touch.
our roots, with
You
nature.
stop standing on the earth.
Mm-mm.
You stop getting the sun in your face.
Yeah.
You stop recognizing that everything is provided for to live
Yeah.
by nature. And we are not causing
Everything,
this.
kasi in our modern world, everything is plastic eh. Everything
Right.
is covered in plastic, comes with plastic. Lahat na lang plastic.
All artificial.
What we need is reality, natural stuff to get us back on track. So we really need to take care of nature. Otherwise, how will we all get well, no?
Yes. There are laws that will protect nature, but what are do you know the laws?
Oh, we don't
Who
know.
will
We
protect-
don't even think about
Who will
protecting
protect the
nature.
trees from being cut? Who will protect the birds? There are laws there.
Yeah. Although some countries are more advanced, no? In
Yeah.
some countries, meron ng rights ang mga
Animals and
lot of
trees and
animals
forests.
actually seen like people already. They have rights, no? I think we have a little bit happening in the country kasi we have naman
Our DNR.
laws to, like for example, there was someone who threw a dog. Diba? Nagkaroon ng gulo because of that kasi he was cruel to the animals. But I think we need more laws to help us take care not just of the plants, the trees, but also the animals. Kasi everything has a role in nature, no? To keep
One-
the balance.
One of the listeners, Jens, commented, yes, too much stimulation. Okay, how do we counter the stimulation?
And you know what happens with too much stimulation is, because our brain can only take so much. What happens with all the stimulation is our senses actually shut down. They actually try to not assimilate so much. So it becomes dulled instead of sharpened. And it's when you go back to nature that your senses will again start to open up, and then you start to interact. with
Nature nurtures.
It's the nature
That
to
nurtures.
help you recover from all these
The
too
elements
much
that
stimulation, unnatural, artificial stimulation.
our body is made of the different elements. Water,
Fire,
Fire.
air,
air,
Oh.
earth. The food we eat comes from the earth.
sana, no? Not
Where-
from plastic containers.
The places where we stand on, many times people live up in buildings,
Yeah, and where we wear all the shoes.
right? You never get to feel,
Foot.
you never get to feel what is, they're always afraid to go bare feet when they go to the grass. They might get bitten by ants or whatever it is. When
Our
we have
feet
guests
are getting
coming,
messed up.
there might be pokey things and all kind of stuff. But really,
I think that's why people like going to the beach because at least the sun, they're not afraid to go barefoot, no?
right.
And that changes their whole outlook. It changes their
Right.
view.
We all go, when we go for a vacation, where do you go?
Sana, nasa nature.
No, I mean, what's the best places for us to go to?
Beach. Mhm.
What do we look forward to go when we go? Well, we go to the beach. Oh, we go to a mountain somewhere.
Yeah, pero
Right.
now people go to resorts where everything is also cemented. Swimming pool.
Yeah, everything
this,
Everything that they're conditioned to doing.
it's like still not all that natural.
But yet, no, the point is, we go to places that relaxes us.
Yeah. Where you have fresh air, automatically you're
Yeah, let's not think about whether the amenities are being offered to that. But the truth is, half of the time, you want to go to the beach, enjoy the sun, enjoy the surf,
and the wind.
and the water, right? That whole scenery becomes calming and relaxing. That's why every time you come from places like this, and you go back to your grind, go back to the city, you always feel so relaxed, and there's that feeling of
Parang
more
being
energy.
recharged.
Right.
Oo,
You have more
recharged.
energy. Yun nga yun eh. You got charged. Who's charging you? Who's recharging you? Where's your recharge coming from? When you look at the elements again, you look at the beautiful sunset, you look at,
The greenery.
the greeneries. All of this connects you back. Why? The natural systems that's there has been provided for most of us. It's there. And due to our own arrogance, maybe the arrogance of man,
Or sometimes just ignorance.
Or
we
ignorance.
forget.
we forget. Even in our own homes, we shut ourselves down. And we know that behind this is a creator. Behind all of this natural system, behind the creation itself is a creator that has provided for everything we need to do.
So now we have to take care of it.
We have to look
So
after
it's a
it.
gift to us.
So when I was talking to the governor this morning, I was telling him, look, I was mentioning to all of your people when we were working on what to do and to change in the
How to
environmental
protect
code.
the environment.
We should always just make it so that the rule has to be stricter when it gets to changing the dynamics of what nature has for that. There are two things I said. The rich forests, actually three. Rich forests, the waterways, and the coastal watersheds.
O lahat yun, dapat pangalagaan. Kasi they work together.
Sa ating bayan in the Philippines, we find many of our rivers becomes a way for people to dump their garbage.
Bad
Then
habit.
we find that many of us, when it gets to the riverways, we really don't know how to live by the river. We never see and appreciate the beauty of what the river is. There's seldom, mas marami ang tao nakatira by the beach, but not too many by the river banks. So you see? So the tendency is that we disregard what this is about. So we have no information what's in the river. What is the river doing for us? What's the river doing for the trees and the plants and the wildlife? What is it doing?
Hmm.
Right? This is so precious for many of us who live in the land. But yet, we find this is totally neglected where we are in this country. We only see the rivers as a source of flooding, but we silt the river.
Yeah, originally, when rivers flood, it
It's a good
makes,
thing.
yeah, it was a good thing because it brings nutrients to the
Nutrients and seeds.
oo, and seeds, no? But because we have messed up our rivers, it's silted. So grabe naman yung
The
flooding.
floods.
Dati hindi ganun kagrabe.
This
Eh.
is what took place here recently, and then everybody's encountering. So what do we need to do? And I was telling the governor, I mentioned, look, there are things that we need to do is to make sure education campaign, educating people that we are stewards of nature. We are responsible for actions we make.
And also, they need to be educated on what benefits they're getting from
Right.
nature because they've forgotten all of that na eh.
And then go back to basics. What are we going to do? What do you propose? I was saying. In times like this, it's always we have to rethink. We got to transform the way we think and the way we live. You know,
We have to reassess everything. Oo.
So this is something that we need, and it has to do with the connection that we are meant to have with the natural systems. The moment you disregard, pag tayo naging hindi natin pinansin yung ating inang kalikasan o ng ating kalikasan. Ito na ang nangyayari sa atin ngayon. Binabagyo tayo or may drought. This year is an El Nino year, so we're expecting horrific typhoons
Mm-mm.
and horrific droughts and dryness. Both extremes of climate will be felt by many of us in this country in these next 8 months.
Maybe even
Do we want to
longer, no?
continue on this? The question will be, where do we begin? Where do we start? It starts with us individually. That's why in the beginning of this morning's show, I'm saying, are you aware of the food you eat? Are you aware of the energy you use? Are you aware of all of these things that is being provided for us? Is there such a thing, or does this occur in our heads that we might be over consuming?
Yeah, even just, I've been trying to help a friend of mine who does eco bricks. Yeah, that means they get plastics and then all the other soft plastics that they use, they stuff it into the bottles and they use that like bricks. So I'm helping her. And so I'm always collecting the trash made of plastic. When you're doing this, and you get to realize how much really you are consuming, no, na may plastic. It's kind of mind-boggling. Even if
It
you
is.
don't want to have plastic,
There's
I always bring bags, right? But then things that you buy are always in plastic. No, so we have to reassess really what we're doing and what we're buying.
there are many things we buy that we actually don't need.
Mhm.
These are part of it. This is an individual effort on each of us. Because if you have to ask, how do we help conserve nature? It
Yeah.
begins with us individually, from food we eat. If we learn to at least grow even 30% of your food or 20%, that's a
Even at
big
90,
plus.
start little and
That's a
then
big plus for your health and a big plus for nature. There's people who go meatless Mondays. Or here in the Philippines, we can bring about meatless Fridays.
oh,
Because that's it being a Catholic country. We're supposed to be going meatless on Fridays, on all other special days. We should be doing that.
originally, bihira naman tayo mag-meet.
Right.
Pag
And
fiesta lang
meat
yun.
is only during in very important occasions. But when more wealth falls in people's hands, our tendency is to spend more. And our governments, leaders are encouraging us to spend more. To spend more means I have to take away resources that are meant for the future and resources that I take without replenishing the source of it.
For example, let's take fish. Yeah, our oceans are already overfished. Even if years ago consumption per person was so much less,
Right.
Now, ang taas masyado. Lahat ng
And it's
pasalubong.
also when people come there, how
But
you do,
necessary naman.
how do you develop you acquire a certain taste? You can't eat food that is
And create bad habits.
so simple anymore. You have to have something that excites your tongue, your senses. And that's why all of this whole food thing, there's a full food industry. When you talk about an
They're
industry,
very, very complicated.
Yeah.
It has to come from so far away, gets transformed in so many ways,
ways,
packaged in so many different ways.
yet and
They
you
use
end up,
plastic.
and you end
Oh
up,
my God.
oh no,
Paying so much.
paying so much
Using
money.
so much.
But because you have a lot more wealth in the hands, this is what happened in the last 50 years. Most wealth, there's so much wealth in people's hands. So they keep buying. The whole economy is revolving around buy and buy and consume some more, right?
In the meantime, the biocapacity of the world is getting less and less.
Less and less, or it's polluted, or now we are ripping the fruit of this consumerism
Yeah.
consciousness.
Too much flood in one part of the world, too much fire in the other part of the world. The place
Europe is burning. A friend of mine who just came from Spain, he was telling me, because Spain is the food basket of Europe. Now they have no more water.
Yeah, how can they grow anything?
Yeah, Spain is facing a severity of water shortage. Now, how are they going to supply food to other
To
countries?
Europe.
So much of this is taking place throughout the world. And now in Asia, you have issues of, they say, oh, maybe the population is so big. No, it is not the population. It is actually the greed that we have.
Yeah.
We just want more and more. There's enough resource for everyone. There's enough food to feed people. I mean,
Yeah, but
in
they're
one part,
feeding the animals instead.
right? In this
So
one
that's
part of the
why
world, you
hindi
have
kulang sa tao.
people who are like bulk of the population, their young people are obese. That means there's no food source to this. It's just a created thing that
We
driven
forgot that
by
the food we grow is supposed to be
driven by
for
consumerism, the consumerism idea. This is where we have to put some brakes in this. Kailangan natin ihinto and be responsible beings. Responsibility means I am mindful of my actions, from food I eat, resources I need at home to live by, clothing, everything I use. I drive my car. What is my carbon footprint here? I account for many of this. Alam niyo, this last 5 days I'm telling you about earlier, we're purely now, because our solar system is our solar at home is dependent primarily on, and it's connected to the grid, but our dependency on it is very minimal. But we could see the setup we have is only good until 25 hours in one day, if we have a good sunlight.
24 hours in a day.
No, 24 hours in one day. So it's only good for 16 hours. Sorry, 16 hours. So 8 hours, no power. We have no power. So what happens? So with us, I said, it's okay.
Mm-mm.
We lived like this before. We didn't have it solar that like we have, but we could get by. And now, instead of, we're home early, we go to sleep early, everything early,
And we sleep really well.
sleep well.
Very,
So,
very good sleep.
at the end of the day, there's so much that we actually don't need to get by. Simple living, but propagating or having a bare, the consciousness that we should be bringing about amongst each other. It's a consciousness that is far from just embracing a way of life that is driven by sense pleasure, which is not easily satiated or is never satiated, never to be satisfied. This is what happened to many of us. Too much stimulation means I want more. But did anybody of us ever come to a point where saying,
Tama na. Enough.
I need less. I don't need this.
Enough.
You know,
Like
I don't need.
banana, no? Take a banana. You can let it ripen, eat it. Right? Sarap. But now, when you think of banana, kailangan banana cake, banana bread, banana with ice cream, pinirito.
Banana muffins.
Oo, ang dami pang iniisip. But if you just take the banana, it's good on its own already.
So,
Yeah. And it comes in very natural packaging. Yeah, perfect.
yeah, it's perfect. No need.
They
Get a fruit.
pa.
Ngayon nga, binagyo. Okay. Means rice. The rice crops, everything is affected. So now roads are down. Networks of roads are down. No resources are moving. So there you go.
No, and you mentioned the rice. Better remind them that in India, they supply a lot of rice in the
India
world.
supplies close to
Kaya-
800 million tons of rice in the world. They're only going to sell us the expensive rice, the basmati variety. But everything else, which is only a small amount, it's like only always, I think it's about 100 million tons.
Yeah, they've decided to keep their rice for
Everything.
the people.
They will keep to themselves because they were severity of the climate change hit them, droughts and floods. So they're going to have to. So we who are dependent on imports,
That's the problem. We used to export rice. Now we are
Dependent.
importers. We are dependent. But now these rice producers are don't want to sell so much of the rice.
yeah, that's why again go back to overconsumerism, but yet no satisfaction within. On the end of the day, this is where the issue that we have to ask ourselves: am I living in the right track? The life that I have embraced, is it a life that provides, proper nurturing and care for myself and everybody else? And I should not be thinking in terms of what is it always for me. Actually, to be happier, we have to look outward. When it gets
That's
to
what people think all the time, di ba?
right, sharing, growing food is an act of being responsible for your health and the health of the planet. This is something that we can be doing. Changing and transforming the way we eat, the way we live, is good for our body and mind. It's good for our being. It's good for the planet. It's good for the future.
Okay.
We can transform. We can make changes. We can make adaptation. We don't have to go by what people feed us, what the advertisers tell us. This is what you should have to be happy. Change your laptop or change this. Cell phone, change that, change this. You don't need most of this. One thing that is also always so common, many times, by the time we start to think about the health of our body and mind, is when there's a problem with it. But we never see the very factors that cause it. If you spend more time just looking at the screen all the time, your eyes are not going to be good.
Your shoulders are not going to be, your neck will
Your
be
neck's
bad.
not, your posture is going to be affected. You're all going like this.
Everything will go bad.
And many of the young people are living this way now.
No, now it's not just the young. Everybody's not.
Everybody. So you forget your relations too.
Yeah, you become guilty of fubbing, not snubbing someone because you're on your phone.
Right.
See, I learned a new word.
Forget the real people. So let's, I'm not sure. I think I'm being so negative this morning, but, but there's hope for all of us. Transformation is not difficult. We have the ability, we have the brain.
Remember,
the
we're all
capacity.
part of nature.
Right.
So conserving nature is part of conserving also people, ourselves, no?
And when you
Our families,
when you do
all the generations that are
right, when you do conservation work, or you do you embrace being a conservative person in your life, it only means I'm taking responsibility of my actions. I'm recognizing now. You begin to recognize, oh yeah, this is the amount of food I eat. This is the amount of food I waste. This is the amount of garbage I throw out. But how can I minimize that? And when you start to adopt this in your own
Back to
life,
simple
it feels
living.
I will tell you guys this. It feels good.
It feels good to know you're not taking more
Yeah.
than you should be taking.
The other day, in the farm, when there was a big typhoon, one of the old mango trees broke from its trunk. The whole crown went like this. The wind just picked it up and blocked the road
Yeah.
inside the farm.
Didn't usually when a tree breaks, it falls next to the tree, right? But this one was thrown.
The whole
You-
crown, big tree. I'm not talking about the small tree.
Yeah, it's an old mango tree.
Fell in the front of right on our door, and right on our road,
Oh.
so we couldn't get out. For me, it's always, we have to make sure in case of emergency. But anyway, I was thinking, what? I take the block out, but when I get out on the road, there's more blocks. So take it step by time. We just made, and we walk, we assess. I stood up there and said hello to all my family folks and sent them, look, we're okay with a smile.
Okay.
I was greeting them.
So we have a tree that's like this on our roof. Hindi matanggal. It's too big.
But
It takes time also to clean up after.
you know what happens?
Mhm.
Many of my family members and friends were going, how this happened? They're all freaking out, but yet at the same time, I had a smile in my face. I said, it's not like
Yeah, we're good.
that's the main thing.
We just have to take some time to fix things.
Fix things, clean it up a bit, and that's fine.
Yeah. And
You know why? I'm not going to think about, oh man, we have so much surplus food. We have so much of that. Everything is set up in such a way that, no electricity? Fine. Food? No worries. Water? No worries. It's all there.
we're so happy actually that it's raining because now the fields are getting
Full of water.
water.
Aquifers are.
Yeah, our neighbors,
Are recharging.
can plant their rice.
Oh man, the rains are just a blessing. That's what we look at. So, for us, we should all know how to counter blessings. We should always be thankful and have this gratitude of thankfulness to those who made a difference in your life. To the Creator who has given us everything we need. Yeah, we should always be thankful in remembrance of all of those who made a difference in our lives. So
Okay.
this is something, and to act responsibly. So we fulfill the nature of what we should be doing. We are stewards of this planet. Yeah.
So wait, before we go, we haven't said hello to our other viewers. Let's greet.
Avelina,
Yeah.
good morning. Aurora, good morning. Melina, too, good morning. Our friend Adira, good morning.
Ligaya Dison, hello.
Right, and Angel, good morning.
Everybody
And
has
Thomas, good
letter
morning.
A here. Angel.
Yeah, they're all H.
Angel ba or Angel?
Angel,
Okay.
syempre.
And Thomas, yeah.
Thomas, good morning to you all. Thank you for sa inyong pagsubaybay, and I hope that you all stay safe and always in prayer and meditation. Always thankful, having this thankful heart, right? Thankful attitude for everything that we have. Thank you so much, and make a difference in other people's lives. Go.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas! Go!